A briefing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2263 would designate the future interchange on K-10 Highway as the Chris Norton Memorial Interchange. This would be the interchange that is being constructed as part of the K-10 Highway Expansion Project located at the existing grade intersection of K-10 Highway and Wakarusa Drive in Douglas County and Lawrence. As is customary, highway signs would not be placed until the Secretary of Transportation received the cost of the signs plus 50%. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions. Seeing none, thank you. First proponent, we have Jordan Herbert. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For completeness, I will read my oral testimony and advance the slides as I proceed. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and esteemed members of the Kansas Senate Committee on Transportation. My name is Jordan Herbert. I am a lifelong Kansan, born and raised in the northeast part of the state. I attended the University of Kansas, where I earned my Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. I met my future wife at KU. We are now married and have two beautiful little girls, 6 and 4, and reside in Johnson County. I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of Kansas. I work for a consulting firm, H&TB Corporation, and I've focused my nearly 15-year career serving the Kansas Department of Transportation, Kansas Turnpike Authority, and municipalities throughout the state on transportation infrastructure projects. I also serve as the design consultant project manager for KDOT's South Lawrence Trafficway, or SLT, project in Lawrence and Douglas County, as mentioned in the bill's reading. And this is why I'm before you today, providing proponent testimony regarding House Bill 2263. Chris Norton was the project manager or lead KDOT representative for the SLT project. As the design consultant project manager, I worked closely with Chris in advancing the project. I got to know Chris both professionally and personally, and like to think we were not only colleagues, but friends. It was a privilege working with Chris in advancing the SLT project. His professionalism, intimate knowledge of the corridor, passion for advancing the project, interaction with the public were all truly admirable. The SLT project has been ongoing for decades, but Chris's leadership on the project, during Chris's leadership on the project, the much needed improvements have come to fruition and construction is in process. In Chris's 33 years with KDOT, he led or contributed to over 270 projects across the state, touching 86 out of 105 counties. He touched so much of Kansas's infrastructure. Not only will his impact to the physical infrastructure last decades, but Chris mentored a generation of KDOT leaders and designers. He always took the time to mentor others in the right way of project development, most notably his attentiveness and collaboration with those most impacted by the projects. Through my time on the SLT, Chris represented all of KDOT's best qualities in his technical knowledge and passion for transportation. But what will always stick with me is his commitment to engagement with the public, especially those most impacted. He would spend hours across kitchen tables, on the phone, responding to emails, doing whatever it took to understand concerns and try to address those concerns to the best of the team's ability. And the SLT has and will impact the Lawrence community significantly. The orange shaded areas highlight safety, operations, and improvements along the SLT that leads to better operations on the Kansas Turnpike and future growth opportunities in the immediate vicinity of the SLT. The yellow areas highlight how the SLT improvements relieve congestion and operational issues along 23rd Street, the main east-west route in Lawrence, providing a better quality of life and travel times along local routes. And the SLT has allowed for the possibility to reconnect with areas of the county south of the SLT to promote connectivity between recreational areas, better access to emergency services, etc. Chris was tied to the Lawrence community beyond projects as he was instrumental in promoting KU's Innovation Campus, helping KDOT become a founding tenant. And he also served seniors through Meals on Wheels, helping support some of Lawrence's most vulnerable citizens. Lawrence was Chris's home, his community, And while Chris's project experience reaches far across Kansas, the SLT was of particular importance to Chris for most of the people impacted, Chris called neighbors, as he lived within the project study area, played, and took his children, with some of which are here today, and his wife, Susie, to the nearby sports complexes. And his children attended the elementary and middle schools where many of the public meetings were held, given its proximity to the project. Chris had a tremendous impact on the design of the K-10 and Wakarusa interchange. Chris personally experienced the challenges of the existing intersection and was committed to the urgent need for a safer interchange. Recognizing the original interchange's design, potential impact on nearby residents, Chris took the initiative to advocate for a more community-friendly approach. His leadership and dedication were instrumental in ensuring the interchange's final design met the needs and concerns of the public. Throughout the SLT project's history, there were many KDOT project managers, but Chris's influence on the project improvement is unmatched. He single-handedly addressed a primary public concern regarding the interchange's design. As you will likely glean from the immense written testimony and verbal testimony, Chris's impact to transportation in Kansas is admirable. And fittingly, as we recently celebrated the national recognition of Engineers Week during Engineers Week, or E-Week, the week of February 16th, I urge you to support this legislation dedicating the future K-10 and Wakarusa interchange because of Chris's direct impact to the improvements at that interchange and his unmatched commitment and dedication to serving his community and the public's interest on his work throughout the state. I'm honored to stand before you and provide proponent testimony on this bill to honor and memorialize a man and engineer who served his community and the state of Kansas beyond expectation. Thank you for your time today and your consideration for this bill.
Committee questions. Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Herbert. Appreciate you being here. I apologize I couldn't attend in person today, but want to thank you for your heartfelt and thorough testimony about Chris. I wish I had met Chris, and I know that improving the quality of life through reduced travel time and less traffic congestion is a huge factor in the standard of living we have here in Kansas. And I look forward to this future interchange on K-10 and Wakarusa, because I think I'll be traveling right through that while I serve our community in the capital. And you had said, was he originally from Kansas as well?
Yes, he's originally from Dodge City. I'm getting that right, Susie? Dodge City, yes.
Great. Well, it's great to hear the great impact that a Kansan has had across our state, and really appreciate you bringing this bill forward. And honored to have you up here today. Thanks for coming. And as one of my constituents, I'll give you a shout out and say thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Committee, further questions? Senator Cleese.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the family, Susie and kids. I'm back here, can't see you with all the staff here in the way. I can't think of a more deserving memorial naming project than this, with Chris's commitment to the state. And I had the opportunity to be over there at the hospital, the announcement of the work when it began for this project. This project has been a long, necessary project, sits right there in District 3. I have a little more of that area now with the redistricting, but I just remember meeting with Susie and the family and being there, and just making my personal commitment that this would be a great memorial and an honor to Chris and the family and everyone that knew him. And so appreciate your testimony today. Speaks so well of his life. And again, my condolences to the family. But let this be a lasting project, memorial name in behalf of Chris, and I would just urge the committee to move forward along with myself and others in this project. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Committee, further questions? Senator Argerbright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jordan, I did not know Chris either. I just wanted to say what a genuine testimony that you gave. I look forward to talking more about this bill, and Western Kansas warms my heart. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, George. Oh, Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for testifying. I just wanted to know what length of highway this was. I couldn't, I'm not familiar with that area enough to know.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Tyson, so this is from, this is the section of K-10 right around the south side of Lawrence from the interchange with 23rd Street to the connection to the turnpike at I-70. The specific interchange is less than, it's like a point along that route of about 8 miles.
That's what I wanted, to know how many miles it was. And I know this, it's just that when somebody else comes in for a naming, I wanted to make sure that we weren't like a 30-mile, 40-mile radius.
So the specific,
Yeah.
the specific interchange
An
is-
8-mile length, so.
The corridor is 8 miles in length. The interchange itself is a point along that 8-mile stretch. So a few hundred or a couple thousand feet would be the length of that interchange. Does that
We're
make sense?
naming the major interchange.
I understand that, Mr. Chairman, but I just want to make sure, because of the distance, there won't be able to be any other on that to overlap. So it is an 8-mile area that you are talking about. Is that what you said?
No, to clarify, it's not the 8-mile stretch. That's the corridor to help provide the context of where the interchange is at. Within that 8-mile, there are 5 interchanges. This is one of the 5 interchanges.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Committee, I'm going to go out of my usual realm, and I'm going to work this bill today. I would like to offer the amendment to publish this in the register, change the effective date to publish in the register. I'll offer that as a motion. Do I have a second? Seconded by Senator Clays. Any further questions on the amendment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, amendment's adopted. Committee, what's your pleasure on the bill? Senator Cleaves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we pass out House Bill number 2263 as amended favorably for passage. Thank you.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Senator Klemp. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The bill is on its way. Senator Cleaves, would you mind carrying this bill on the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it would be great.
Thank you. Jordan, thank you. Family, thank you for being here. We really appreciate that. Bill, I think it was 2169. Adam, could you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2169 would amend essentially the military license plate statutes. It would eliminate the requirement that applications be made at least 60 days prior to such person's registration date, instead changing that to just their registration date. It amends the language concerning the types of discharge, essentially clarifying that honorable discharge and discharge under honorable conditions will qualify for the plates. It also amends the documentation required to prove a veteran status by either the DD 214, the veteran's designation on a Kansas driver's license, or any other valid documentation as provided by the Director of Vehicles.
Committee, what's your pleasure on this bill? I'll offer the amendment to make the effective date the register, or offer to make the motion to offer the amendment, stated by Senator Clays. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Amendment is adopted. We're back on the bill. Committee, what's your pleasure? Senator Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that the committee pass out favorably House Bill 2169 as amended favorably for passage.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Senator Dietrich. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? The bill is on its way. Senator Klemp, would you carry this one for me? Thank you. Appreciate that. Committee, with our work being done here, we will have no meeting today, and since we worked these bills, we will not meet on Monday, but we do have a meeting on Tuesday. Any further business to come before the meeting, before the committee? Did I say the right number on that bill, Adam?
It's 2169. To be honest, yeah, I'm not sure.
2169.
It is 2169.
Want to make sure we had that correct. With that, we are adjourned.